We're knee-deep in the playoff grind. Some teams have managed to survive. Some are licking their wounds for next year. And others have had losses that'll impact them for a long time. That's the art of the game. And there's an art to a game that you can play as well. It's thanks to DraftKings Sportsbook, the sponsor of this video. You should know they have a deal you can't pass up in these times. All new customers can bet just $5 and receive $300 in bonus bets if it wins. Their sportsbook allows you freedom. Any game, any player, any situation, any sport. You can place a bet on it. Yes, I did put $1 on the Pittsburgh money line against Houston. Best damn dollar I ever spent. I wanted to believe. I'll also partake in some same-game parlays throughout the football season, combining bets to make the ultimate something. But even if DraftKings isn't available in your state, they offer daily fantasy contests to test your sports might. Now, the only way to get involved is to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use promo code UTREE. That allows all new customers to bet $5 and receive $300 in bonus bets if it wins. With DraftKings, the world's your oyster, my friends. But always remember to play responsibly.
And now our feature presentation.
It should be nice not to talk about football, but it really isn't. So we're back here again. I wish I could say things haven't gotten worse for NASCAR, but they have. 2025 was a disaster. One that finally forced them to face the cold reality of the sport itself. France family and their henchmen spent decades digging a hole. They've been merely trying to either dig further down or dig up in recent times. Morale throughout the sport is brutally low. Fan ranks are beleaguered and embarrassed to even be associated. Anyone that's left of the fan ranks, that is. And that goes from anyone from diehard to newbie. I'm a casual nowadays. The kind of person NASCAR's been trying to cater towards for ages. When I turn on a NASCAR race from time to time, I don't watch in anticipation or excitement. I simply expect them to throw a bullshit caution for the sake of competitiveness or await the next controversy that inevitably arises. It takes away from any sort of racing spirit since it'll just be nullified. There have been many faults as of late. I don't know if it's even cynical to say. Some make the argument that the O'Reilly series offers better racing than the main product. And it is a showcase of hot prospects. If they're a bigger team. The rest might as well be field filler. Good luck making any money off it too. And that's not getting into the truck series. The light stopped shining over there a long time ago. It's a wasteland of greenhorns and pay drivers alike, unless you're a developmental project. And there aren't many paying fans that are gonna watch that in person. Or whatever Fox calls a broadcast these days. But we know the real issues lie in the gimmicks. The so-called playoffs. The stage racing and points. It's been a thorn in their side for years on end and has driven many a fan away from the sport in general. Here's a hint. If a system takes an overly long time to explain, it's a shit system. I figured it wouldn't get worse than it did last August, but I was dead wrong. The Austin Dillon bullshit at Richmond was an appetizer. At least NASCAR told him to fuck off with that nonsense and ban him from playoff land. But there's one race for me that exposes the blatant flaws of such a system. 2024 Coke Zero Sugar 400.
Bush goes low! Burton blocks! He gets back up! Comes to the line! Jeff, your little boy, has done it! Harrison Burton wins in Daytona!
Miracle of all goddamn miracles. Harrison Burton, a racer who went through a tunnel of shit in 2024. A man who was going to be losing his ride at the end of the year. Solidifying his legacy at Daytona with his father watching in the broadcast booth. The legendary Wood brothers not only getting their first win since 2017, but their 100th as a team. This was the ultimate feel-good story in a medium that needed it. An underdog tale that should have had no caveats whatsoever. If it weren't for NASCAR's win-and-in system. Thanks to this victory, Harrison Burton was now in the playoffs. He ranked 34th in points before this race. Out of 34 full-time drivers. It's as if the New York Giants or Cleveland Browns made it to the playoffs after winning a few games at the end of the year. The NFL just says, you know what, you can take the spot of the Panthers or Steelers this year. Nobody gives a shit about those fucking teams. What'd you expect with restrictor plate racing? Shit's become musical chairs these days and you want to make it win and in? Of course, with Burton's dub, that means a spot taken away from a driver like Bubba Wallace or Chris Buescher. There was debate as to which driver would make it, but then Chase Briscoe won at Darlington and made that competition moot. At least Chase was a lot closer to the top 16, so easier to swallow. Simply what everyone knew was gonna happen but NASCAR themselves, it seems. Then the playoffs themselves. Besides the open collusion taking place between Chevys and Martinsville, a debacle. Kind of like the whole Christopher Bell wall ride. If it weren't for the damn playoffs and Champ 4 or whatever they're calling it, this move doesn't happen. Here's your elimination and a $50K fine to Chevy and Wallace for actions detrimental to NASCAR. Blatant race manipulation isn't a one-off with this kind of system. It's a feature. And then you get to your 2024 champion, Joey Logano. Very popular driver among many, I know. Gifted it with Deus Ex Machina due to Alex Bowman being DQ'd at the Charlotte Roval. Winning it all with an average finish of 17.1. A man who in a regular point system would have finished 12th. Congratulations, your product has become a total farce. And I can already predict the argument. But the 2007 New York Giants were a team that found fire late and won a Super Bowl. It makes for compelling television. For the last damn time, racing isn't a stick and ball sport. The playoffs exist in other sports due to different schedules, travel, and playing conditions between teams that play one-on-one. That doesn't exist in racing. They all face the same elements and travel. It's fucking stupid. You mean to tell me a gimmicky system that allowed Kyle Busch to miss a significant chunk of the season yet still win a championship should have been scrapped in the planning process? Incredible. So why the hell should I, or anyone for that matter, watch this sport? You've delegitimized an entire chunk of the schedule unless you luck into winning. Even the so-called playoffs feel superficial and hollow. When every race is a Game 7, none of them are. 2025 was merely icing on the damn cake. There weren't any Harrison Burtons this year. Only lesser ones like Barry, Dillon, and Road Course got SVG. Didn't mean there wasn't endless controversy and bullshit, though. The problem is things have become so convoluted every situation becomes uncanny. 7 wide in the final Truck Series race after an overtime caution? It's not even impressive, it's artificial and sensationalist. At least there was no Matt Crafton paradox. Corey Haim only dominated all season long. What was Xfinity? Not so much. Connor Zilic also dominated the series like Haim did in trucks, winning 7 of 8 races in a 2-month span, 18 straight top 5s. A man who would have won in a full season point system. Then came the gimmicky final showdown at Phoenix. Zilic finished 3rd, an outstanding drive in a vacuum. The problem was Jesse Love. He won the race, he wins the championship. Love had a damn good season, but this was atrocious. The only thing to blame? NASCAR itself. And it gets even more confusing in the NASCAR Cup Series. Everyone and their mother was rooting for Denny Hamlin. Regardless of if he shouldn't have been close to champion, he's the feel-good story. His father was dying. The team he owns in a grueling fight with the sport itself never won a title in his career, boasting a commanding lead at Phoenix late. Then overtime caution time, due to a flat tire that didn't affect any other racers. Pit road happens and it's over. Kyle Larson wins the race and the season title. You have a race structure so convoluted and reviled that people are angry about a championship winner who would have won it all in a full season point system. That's all you need to know. And the brass of the sport's wondering why viewership's taking a further dive off a cliff? They're nearing sub 1 million numbers in their precious playoffs. Fucking DEFCON 1. NASCAR can blame the NFL, Ryder Cup, and Charlie Kirk's funeral, but that's a cheap excuse. Xfinity nearly had the same ratings as the main series some weeks. So after another controversial and contrived season, that's simply... Oh yeah, the lawsuit. NASCAR, settling with 2311 Racing and FRM before it gets to court? Are you crazy? France family's hubris will have them charge headfirst into the case. They've been in this situation before and they come out on top every time. Everything is simply table dressing. Team owners are crying about how much money they lose by racing. 9 of 12 teams in the red. Tens of millions of dollars, FRM? How sad. Let everyone see that NASCAR itself is feasting on gold-plated caviar every night. $20 million a season per car is merely part and parcel of participating in the greatest sport on earth. Declining sponsor quality and revenue, skill issue. Get good. Full control has always been the name of the game. From charters to parts manufacturing to revenue splits to the tracks themselves. It all looked like NASCAR escaping fate. Then came the text messages. You know, every conspiracy fan said about NASCAR's execs seeing themselves as infallible and scoffing at the peons below them? Turns out they were all true. Shit, we shouldn't be shocked. This is an organization that publicly called their detractors and critics bots. It's even worse privately. They tried to quash any sort of competition whatsoever. As texts say, take a knife to them repeatedly, completely shitting on team owners of all sizes, strong-arming them into lowball deals or get the fuck out. The smaller teams, welfare leeches. Every single damn one of them. Who gives a shit about the fans? Most of them can't read. A bunch of inbreds that can't see the turn 3 wall they're driving into. I don't know, you guys. I, for one, believe calling Richard Childress one of the most iconic owners in the sport's history a stupid redneck is the epitome of class and decorum. And the most damning testament of all? Nobody outside of NASCAR circles gave a shit. Barely a peep out of ESPN or any other major sports news source. That's how far the sport had fallen. From competing with the NFL to not even being an afterthought. Near total apathy. A death sentence. NASCAR teams and fans everywhere wanted to take these ass clowns out back to be flogged. They can do this all day. Michael Jordan doesn't just have fuck you money, he's got scorched earth just to say fuck you money. So in an attempt to appease the teams and not have any more incredibly damning shit come out, they wave the white flag and throw them a few bones. Permanent charters. Some semblance of power given to the teams. How much, who knows, but even a sliver goes a long way against the France family. NASCAR tried to bully everyone to oblivion and got predictably parried with a sword to the throat. It's Dover. So Steve Phelps, you're responsible for the Childress text. Jump into this bit of spikes for the Francis, please.
Bye.
Who knew that the CEO of Bass Pro Shops might have saved NASCAR? This man needs statues built of him. Unironically, things had to change. Everyone and their mother's clamoring for a 36-race point system. The elimination of gimmicky playoffs and artificial tension. I'm not trying to generalize, but all NASCAR fans want is organic, compelling racing. Championships aren't won as if Phoenix or Homestead, Miami has somehow become the Super Bowl. It's the antithesis of motorsport as a whole. The good news is that the stubborn heads at the top of the food chain listen. A little. They're bringing back the original chase for the Cup, albeit with a few tweaks. 16 drivers instead of the original 10 and corrections to the point system. No win and instabilation or playoff points. No elimination to where it comes down to one race. It's a lot better than what it was. Although that isn't saying much. The segmented races still remain. Overtime cautions still remain. It's not the 36-race season that fans and former drivers were clamoring for. Change is going to come very slowly, especially with the France family in charge. Not to mention their quest to keep a stranglehold on power. The road will be arduous, but it's a start. And they need to do this right. I'm gonna be honest, I've been significantly more captivated by F1 as of late. If you were to tell me this 20 years ago, I'd have slapped you silly, but it's the truth for a lot of us. They can turn into glorified car parades at points, yet the spirit of racing has never been lost. The spectacle is still captivating, the meme culture is extremely lively, and most importantly, they let them fucking race. Every Grand Prix feels like it means something. There was legitimate championship drama to the last stage of the season, and it didn't involve cheap gimmicks. McLaren would have 28-3'd it if it weren't for Lando Norris securing a podium. The fact that most races are during red-eye hours and don't feature a premium American driver and F1 is still closing in on NASCAR's crown jewel viewership should be ringing gigantic alarm bells. Shit, even IndyCar's starting to creep back into the picture. They had the most watched race in 2025 with the Indy 500. That series lets them fucking race too, just saying. NASCAR spent years trying to chase the highs of further glory by trying to compete with the NFL. Instead, it took away what made it special to begin with. The cleanup is going to take a long time. And that's if they don't stubbornly dig their heels into the ground. Recovering the trust lost from fans after 20 years will be an enormous task. And that's merely the surface. They're losing the teams. They're losing the drivers. They're losing legends of the sport. That's how bad it's gotten. So we just hope this is rock bottom and the sport can finally get back on its feet. Although we said that years ago and viewership is roughly halved. The roar of six-figure crowds replaced with tumbleweeds of glory long past. Will the Francis learn? Who the hell knows? I don't know if many people care at this point. The black flag's out, NASCAR. Get your ass to the pit.
For Jack Roush, Greg Biffle is going to score a win at Daytona in just his 23rd NASCAR Winston Cup start. Greg Biffle wins the Pepsi 400.
And Roush comes 1-2, and Ricky Rudd comes in third, another car close with both Jack Roush ties. All right, guys, congratulations to you.